You're listening to Productivity Monsters in the Morning. We are the energy volt your real estate business needs to get you up and out and excited and productive for the day. We go over trending topics and things that really matter in the market of the moment. Here are your hosts, Tiffany Hampton and Brooke Silva.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Excellent. Excellent. Drying up after a soggy week here.
Yes. I know that first snowfall in Maine. Yay. I'm glad it's gone. The benefit of the snowfalls this time of year, though, is like they literally last for 5 minutes and then they're gone.
Yeah, it melts. It's gone. Bye.
Yes, absolutely. So I wasn't sad. It wasn't the big one, and I don't desire a big one.
It's funny because we have not gotten to our leaves yet. It's so bad. But we wait because of where we live. The wind tends to gather everybody else's leaves and bring them into our yard. So we've learned in years past to not do it right away and wait till before Thanksgiving. So while it's a little chillier, it means we don't have to do it like 7 times in the past. But my husband's about to line up like 45 bags of leaf.
I will tell you, though, if we think of what's the benefit of doing it 7 times, great exercise.
Yeah, great exercise. I just wish we had the time. Right? I wish we had the time. And sometimes some of those leaves end up in other places. So, but just where we live, we seem to be the catch-all. Like if somebody's garbage tips over, the wind takes it here. If the leaves takes it here, trees, branches here. So the good thing about snow coming, or I thought, was it would hide those leaves and we could forget about them to the spring, but that is not the case. So we will be doing that this weekend.
I'm hoping for one more warm-up. One more. Just one more.
Me too. Me too.
Then I could go into winter. Just give me one more.
Yes. So today we have a fun thing because you and I live this life. We've been going over some different steps to just be a little more productive in your career. And today I love this one because we're in a shift. We really talk about tightening up expenses and playing red light, green light with a lot of things. But the one thing we should never play red light and cut it is anything to do with education or coaching. That is the one thing that should be the foundation of what we do. So today's affirmation is short and sweet, Tiffany. Do you see it? It's 3 letters.
It's 3 words. It's
I mean, 3 words. Yes. Listen, I'm on 1 coffee. 1 coffee.
Yeah, I haven't even had coffee yet, but that's okay. I am capable.
I love it. I am capable.
Natural. Yeah.
So many of the people who come and sit in my classroom have limiting beliefs because adult learners are difficult on themselves more than anyone else. We come to any learning table as adults with habits from our past and interactions that could have been negative or positive, and we've been out of the classroom for a long, long time. So sometimes when people sit down, the first things they say to me are things like, I'm not tech savvy, which is a limiting belief because if you can run this thing, right? If you can make a phone call from an iPhone or an Android or even a flip phone, you're tech savvy.
Yeah.
I truly believe that.
When people make those blanket 100%, I ask, is that 100% true? Is it 100% true that you're not tech savvy? And then they'll come back and it'll help them self-discover. Is that a true statement? So, when we talk about learning based, I'm not learning based. Is that 100% true? Because I feel like every aspect of our life is some type of learning.
Right. It's learn and earn. And there's something every day, whether you read it, whether you see it somewhere, whether somebody says it to you, whether you walk into a store and see something or you pick up a book, you're learning. It never stops. But what we're doing in this topic is putting focus on getting purposeful in your learning so that you can move forward. And a learning-based individual is someone who really has made the decision to be purposeful about gaining the knowledge they need to get closer to their goal. And when people say they're not tech savvy, to me, it hurts because I am not expecting you to sit down with me and rip apart a computer and put it back together. That is not,
Yeah.
that's not what I do. I mean, I can do it. I don't want to do it anymore. I did it for a long time, but it's not, tech savvy means something so different in our world.
Right. And you know, and I think of when we're going through the One Thing book right now, right? And
Yep.
the last couple of weeks we were talking about what's the great question and what are the great answers, right? So how does learning based fall into your thinking time, right? Like we're in November and December. That's the time that you reflect. So what questions are you asking yourself to support your learning base? A question as an agent I would ask is, how, you know, of all of the listing appointments that I went on, how many did I take and how many did I not take? And what were the reasons why they were not? And then what learning based activities should you put into your life for those activities to get better at the learning listing process, right?
Right.
If you're a leader in the recruiting arena, how many agents did you talk to talk about how awesome KW is and how it can absolutely change your life? And what were the objections you heard? And how would you handle them now, knowing that those were objections to be doing better next time? So learning based, whether we like it or not, it's part of our world.
It is. And you know, and I think what happens is we go through all these stages, right? So every day we go through this, we don't even realize it. And in one of the classes we teach, 6 Personal Perspectives, they talk about driving a car and the stages of learning based in that. And it's unconscious incompetence, whereas we don't know what we don't know. Then we move on to conscious incompetence. We now know what we don't know. Right? Then conscious competence, which is now we know. And then all of a sudden, there turns right. Then it's unconscious competence, whereas you don't really even have to think about it. You just do. You do it without thinking. And I can think of so many things I do in my life, but it took me a long time to get there. Whereas I love graphic design. That was one of my first certificates before it was even like a thing. That's how old I am. I was in the first Photoshop. Like, there was one program for graphic design, and it was Photoshop, and it was 8 CDs to load it onto a computer, and your computer basically took 3 hours to even make something. But it took me a long time to master that world, and I'm still learning every single day because the software keeps improving. But right? You've watched me. So, you know, for our friends at home who don't know this, when we're designing things to teach to our agents, there are often times where I'm zooming and Tiffany's watching me and I am flying through things. And she's like, it's unconscious competence.
And it's having the eyes of, and I would say when you're unconsciously competent, that's a danger zone as well, because then you're just doing the same thing over and over again because it's a habit. It's the statement, and I don't know if we did it on this call or on another call, but it's the comment of, well, that's just how we do it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was this week.
Yeah, I don't remember.
We've always done it.
Yeah, right. So
like, I don't.
If we have that mindset of this is how we always do it, are you growing, right?
You know, and we have such a robust curriculum at KW, and within our world alone, let's talk about just not the brokerage, but at the local MLS level, statewide, NAR, there are so many resources to learn, stretch, and grow. You know, COVID was amazing for virtual webinars. I went to so many free classes over Zoom during shutdown and was able to interact with, like, I went to a Simon Sinek thing and he was live. I've never been able to get Simon Sinek tickets, right? Like, I've never, but I got to sit in a room of 35 people, sit in a room and go to a Simon Sinek event. And that blew my mind. And while he's not in real estate, it helped me grow and think and change as a leader. And if you're not aware of the curriculum that exists within your world, reach out to us. we have things like win with sellers, win with buyers, 6 personal perspectives. Ignite is probably one of my most favorite things for any agent. I teach language of appreciation in the workplace.
Yep.
We have classes we've curated for the region. The one thing, and a lot of the things we do at the region, if we're allowed to, we record them so you can play them back after coming to the class. So that way you can enhance your learning. But Tiffany, what should our friends be doing for their coaching action in order to make the most of their time to learn?
Yeah. So, I mean, again, it's reflection time. I would look back at this past year, look at where you did really well and where there's the opportunity of growth, and then add those, like, have time blocks in your calendar every single week where you're growing. Because I used to get called out all the time because they're like, you're always in training, you're always learning. I was like, yes, I am, because that's how we do better.
Right. If learning's not on your 411, it's a huge missing piece. So if you're looking at your GPS and your 135 and your 411 with someone, those goals aren't going to happen without the knowledge to get you there. So my action for you is look at those goals, look on KW Connect, look at local classes in your market center. And if you're not sure where to go or what the best class is to hit those goals and get the knowledge you need to make the calls, social media, whatever it is that you know you have a knowledge gap, meet with us or set up a time to meet with productivity coaches or your team leader, because they will help you find the classes to make sure that you're hitting your goals so that you have the knowledge to do the things to move closer to your big goals.
Absolutely. And no, it's not a one day thing, right? This is a habit that we're putting into place. It's going to take the time.
It's funny. There's this, we get to see a lot of the feedback and the evals from classes, right? Especially when we do them on our region. And one of the things is I've got people who want to know everything in a 2-day span. Like, I'm going to come to this seminar and I'm never going to have to go to a class again.
Yeah. I wish that was true.
It's, why can't this be broken up over 8 weeks? And I'm like,
right?
There's no happy medium. The other thing is you have to do something with the knowledge you learn. Don't just go to class because you think it's what your leadership or your coach wants you to do. You owe it to yourself and the people who are instructing, because many times it's other agents who are donating their time to help. Be all in. If you're on a Zoom, be all in with us, because when you're wearing these, it reflects. So now, like, you can see Tiffany in my reflection. And
that's funny.
But we can see you. We see
what you're calling people out.
I am. Because you know what? It's not fair to them. Because if you're answering calls, if you're reading emails, posting, checking your phone, you're missing the educational piece. And that's when students also may not find value in a class, but they haven't given the class or the instructor a chance. Also, I urge you to go back in person. The magic is when we are together as a group and the people can talk things out. Masterminding is one of the most powerful learning tools. So when you're here, be all in with us, because you deserve that. We deserve that. And it's just going to make you better in your business or in your life.
Yeah. And, you know, to speak on that, we have BOLD, right? Business objectives, life by design, right? So that comes twice a year. Well, it comes 4 times a year. And yet most market centers do it once or twice a year. And we have people that do it 30, 40, 50 times, right? Like 13, 14. We have new agents that have done it 4 times in their first 2 years of business. And the reason being is because you are never the same person when you walk into that class again. So whether it's 6 personal perspectives or it's Ignite or it's whatever the class is, just because you did it once doesn't mean it's a one and done thing. It means you took it, and then there's the whole minds part of it, right? Like you get 20,000 pieces of information into your brain. So how many of those 20,000 pieces of information do you keep? So you may hear things differently when you do that class again. So this mindset of, oh, I did that.
Yeah. You're always going to hear, and it's funny because whenever we teach the MREA or we have our MREA book club, I hear something I never heard before because I'm at a different spot and I needed to, I wasn't ready to understand certain things. And there's no, you never graduate being an agent. You never graduate learning. It's going to be here forever. So grab it. And if you need a book about this one's a really, really neat one. And I've talked about it before in communities, but it's also a great thing to learn about self. So are you a manager or a movement maker? And that will be in the show notes. I've added it again because I think it's such an important book for the time we're living in to build communities and learn from your communities, because we don't dictate the market. Who dictates the market?
The buyers and the sellers dictate the market.
So if you're not learning from your community and what's going on in real estate locally, and if you're not zoned in and learning the people in your community's needs, you're going to miss a mark. So stay learning based. Reach out to us, PMintheAM@kw.com. We would love to help you put a learning path together to help you smash those goals.
Absolutely. All right, my friend. I will see you tomorrow.
Have a good morning.
Bye.
Bye.